Yeah. All right. We're good. You ready?
Cool. Yes,
Cool.
I
Fuck it.
am.
Let's
Bread
just
and
start.
circuses, guys. What's up?
What's up, guys? We're audio only today for those of you that follow on YouTube just because of the just reasons.
A busy week, man. Me and Kayla are both doing college and everything. He's got stand up, got being a dad and everything. It's like,
I feel that. I finished
yeesh,
second in
dude.
the competition yesterday, though.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. It seemed cool. There's what was there like 12 people there in Lincoln at that
Yeah, I
show?
mean, it was like my thing with like those competitions. I never put too much stock into them because I wasn't happy with my performance and I finished second. So like,
Mm-hmm.
it's they are what they are, especially at the end when it gets based on crowd participation.
Man, I am so looking forward to being able to do that stuff down here in El Paso, man. Like, we're still under that crazy order thing right now.
Oh
They
yeah.
actually said on the news that right now, more than 50% of the population of El Paso has the virus. So
Has it or has had it?
has it. So you're more than likely to meet somebody right now that has the
Oh my
virus and then doesn't.
god.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking crazy, man.
Oh
In
my
fact,
god. We're at 30 here.
I got my results and I had it. They confirmed in New Mexico
Yeah.
that I had the virus. So
Yeah. My dad had it. He just kicked it. He's officially off quarantine. My brother
that's
had
good.
it. Um a couple other people I know have had it too. And not me though. I'm untouched.
It's a matter of time, man. I don't know how the fuck Anna didn't have it, but then I
She
had it.
tested negative?
Yeah, she tested negative, but
Seriously?
I was the only one in the house that actually tested positive, and I'm pretty sure my daughter had it, but I don't know. She was teething like really
Oh.
crazily at the same time, so it could have just
Okay.
been that. But
Yeah. That's
shish.
Did she test it all or no?
No, they don't test the children. I don't think they test
Oh.
kids under 3 or something like that.
Probably because they don't want to stick a thing up their nose.
Yeah, dude, that test ain't fun. It's worse
No.
than the flu one because they swab both noses or both
Oh yeah.
nostrils. So
Is it the flu or strep throat where they stick the stick down your throat?
it's probably strep throat.
I
Although
hated that one.
usually with strep throat, they can tell that you have it just because you got white spots in the back of your throat. Like,
Yeah. They have to confirm it though to treat it though.
mm,
Dude, it's crazy, man. Strep throat, like back in like the 20s before penicillin and shit, strep throat was like 50-50. If you got it, there was a solid chance you were gonna die from it.
yeah, my grandma would tell me stories actually about like the era of that when she was a kid. She was like, "Oh yeah," just casually said, "Oh yeah, the neighbor had polio and
Yeah.
died when he was 12." I was like, "Oh my god, dude."
And that's I mean, it's like, did you see they got a virus or a vaccine, excuse me, that's in the works for COVID that's like 90% effective?
I'm not surprised. This is about the time frame that they said that they were going to be getting it out.
Yeah.
I did see too that China has been not because they haven't had any more cases, dude. They're
Oh
fucking
yeah, sure.
they're clean.
Oh yeah, if you believe that. They stopped at 88,000, remember?
No, I think it's
Yeah.
at like 92 or something right
Yeah,
now.
something ridiculous like that. But it's like they had fuck, I'm about to sneeze. They had this one because it's like vaccines, don't they have it's like 2 or 4 years where they have to actually work on them, but they removed a bunch of the regulations to push this one out. And I'm over here looking at that like, I'm not taking that. Are you fist fucking me right now?
I've
Like,
already had it and it sucked, but it was like
it's better than, you develop cancer 10 years from now because of it, or early
the
onset Alzheimer's, or
the thing that kind of is kind of crazy about it too is like the virus just the way it is, it just mutates so fast and so crazily. It's like I don't even know how they're gonna have a vaccine for it,
that
man.
covers everything. Well, no, it's
Yeah,
like the flu mutates. So there's a different
yeah.
flu vaccine every year.
This one was like specifically genetically engineered in China to mutate really well. So
Yeah. No, you're a dangerous conspiracy theorist if you say that. You're problematic,
I
okay?
know, right? Yeah, China hasn't had any new cases since
None.
a new crazy. Yeah, They just this week they've had no more than 50 cases. It's
0.
like, yeah, okay, dude.
North Korea just kills you if you get it.
Yeah, I know. Dude, I was literally watching a YouTube video just earlier while I was waiting here about like some lady talking about like, oh yeah, in my village they killed 15 people that had the virus.
In North Korea?
Yeah, she was a defector to South Korea, and she
Oh
was
my
like, yeah,
God.
yeah,
I
my
mean,
hometown they just killed 15 people.
that's how you stop the spread, you know?
Yeah,
It's not a COVID related death. Well, it kind of is.
It's pretty crazy, man. Like I don't like the cases and numbers and everything in the United States, like how bad they are right now, but it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think there's anything they really could have done to prevent it to be like it is, man.
No,
Like,
I mean, like they really couldn't have. Like
look at like so France, dude. Like
Yeah.
they have just smaller population than we do, and they've got
and
like
they did like an intense lockdown. Same with Italy,
yeah.
and now it's back, and it's worse than it. Like it's just it is what it is, man.
They have almost 600,000 cases, and they have like way smaller population than we do. Like that's why I was like, when everybody was talking about like, oh, the United States failed in their response, I'm like, dude, who succeeded? Nobody succeeded.
There was nothing you could do. You know, it's
nobody. Yeah, there's like, I mean, yeah, they could say do some lockdowns and stuff, but I mean, like, yeah, Europe did it, and they have just
it
as
didn't
many,
work. Yeah,
they have just as many cases. Like, you know what I mean? Like percentage wise, they have more.
Yeah, in Europe it didn't work over there. You have in even here in the US. I mean, it's like California's been on an intense lockdown for months, and their cases are still rising. So it's like the cases are going to rise, and you know the issue is these people control both goalposts, right? So all they have to say when the cases rise despite the lockdowns is, well, could you imagine how bad it'd be if we didn't have the lockdowns? So it's there's no you can't lose when you have both.
I guess that's a point, but it's like, dude, there's no good solution, because I mean that causes all sorts of other problems too. Me and my wife always talk about this, where we're like, dude, there's nothing good you can do, man. Like you're fucked to eat, and you're fucked no matter what you do. You lock down and you fuck your economy up, or you don't, and everybody gets the virus.
It's way more than than the economy that gets fucked. I mean, there's obviously a huge human toll that comes from destroying small businesses and kicking people permanently out of jobs and stuff. But what people don't realize is the amount of suicide. Well, and the number we'll probably never fully grasp are the deaths because of the lockdowns. The amount of suicides, relapses, and then you have
sure depression rate. I know they said depression rates and really high up, and I know they said that like suicide was really high in Japan.
The state of California had as many suicide attempts like in the month of April that more than they did the whole year in 2019. That's absurd. Like I know people that work for the VA crisis hotline. They're like, dude, like our phone's ringing off the hook. Like I'm getting more calls in a week than I did in 3 months last year. Like
wow, people in the VA doing work, man. That's
I know, right?
Crazy.
That's what they don't want. You know, that's why they're upset. They're the real victims of this for having to do their jobs, right? Well, and then there was another article I read. It was like cancer screenings and other things are like 90% down because they won't let you get in to get screened, and they're canceling routine appointments.
I'm not surprised, man. Like I have to do regular screening stuff for like my hypothyroidism that I do, and like even getting like an appointment to go to a blood place is like crazy. Although my wife was telling me, and I'm looking more into this this week here. Apparently, you can sell your blood if you have the virus to like these blood research places, and I'm like
$400-500,
dude. Yeah, she's like, it tops out at like 1,500. I'm like, bro, that's how I'm funding my PS5. I'm gonna go sell my fucking blood, dude.
There you go, man.
She was all mad. She's like, you're not gonna use it to like get me something. I'm like, nah, it's my blood, dude.
No, you go. So yeah, it's not my fault you didn't catch it. That's your fault.
Seriously, it's so crazy how she didn't, man. Nobody else in my household caught it.
That's
nobody.
Bizarre.
Yeah,
you just
dude.
Must have a bad immune system, man.
I don't know. Like I heard that it affects people with A positive blood the worst.
That's what you're saying.
Me and my daughter both have A positive blood, but nobody else does in the house. I don't know, man. It's crazy. It just goes back to that whole thing of like, dude, nobody fucking understands this virus very well. Like
no. The only thing we understand is that if you get it, there's like a 99% chance you're gonna live. So
It's, I will say this because, like, I think the worst thing that I had, well, the two things were the worst. The lack of smell really sucked.
yeah, is that
But when
back?
no, not 100%. I can kind of smell, but it's
Huh.
like, it's very, and it's only extreme sense. And it's like, I have to, like, to smell like the really good soap. Like, I have to put
Oh,
my hands, I have to put it like almost up my nose.
oh,
So that kind of sucks. But, dude, the shortness of breath was actually kind of bad because when I would be sleeping, I would keep waking up at night because I wasn't getting enough oxygen. So like I would sleep terribly and would have to
oh,
toss and turn. It was almost like I, had sleep apnea or something.
yeah.
So, and I'm like, I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm healthy. I've definitely been healthier in my life, but like there's certainly people that are doing worse than me.
Hmm.
So like I could definitely imagine like an older person that, already maybe has sleep apnea
Sure,
gets this virus, dude. They just pass away in their sleep from just
sure.
asphyxiation. Like
Yeah, no, I could see
it's
that.
it's crazy because that's such like a thing you wouldn't think of.
Hmm.
But yeah, it sucked, man. Like I would constantly be waking up at night like shaking because like I was like
Ugh.
my body was like, fuck dude, you're not getting enough oxygen, and it would like shake to wake me up. Like
That reminds me of that bout I had with bronchitis
mm,
a couple of years ago. That like just
yeah,
fucked me up.
the viral bronchitis. That's almost
Yeah,
like what the coronavirus is like viral bronchitis kind of, but it's like dry instead.
essentially. I mean, that was bad, man. That was
Mm.
like a 3 week fight, pretty much, when you
Hmm.
look at it entirely. And it's like,
And
well,
you're a pretty healthy guy. So like,
so
yeah, imagine if you were like 3 times your
I
age, dude.
almost
Like,
like I kind of wonder though with that because that was during flu season.
mm,
So like I kind of wonder if I got bronchitis because I felt better the next week. And
hmm.
then I started feeling like shitting. And I almost wonder if I contracted the flu that next week. And it was just
Oh, like
bad.
in your lungs instead of like your
Yeah.
sinuses. Yeah,
If it was
maybe,
just bad timing like that, that's
maybe.
the only thing I'm wondering, or something else. But yeah, I mean, that like turned into a pneumonia situation. That's no fun.
I've have you ever had pneumonia before?
I'm pretty sure that's what I had.
I've only
That's
had
what
pneumonia.
bronchitis turned into.
I've had bacterial pneumonia before. I got it when I was in basic training. We like ran out of cleaning supplies in our bay for like a couple
Ugh.
weeks. So like, yeah, we were like mopping the floor with just water basically.
Yeah, I knew.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that that's fucking sucked, dude. That was like the worst, like 5 days ever. Was like having pneumonia. Shit's terrible.
Oh, I'm sure. I knew a guy in from Wisconsin that had, or actually, I knew a guy. He got bacterial bronchitis, and of the
Hmm.
23 people in Wisconsin that got it that year, he was the one who lived.
Wow, that's crazy. I used to actually get bacterial bronchitis all the time as a kid. Like
It
I
might
would
have been
get it.
something else. It was bacterial
Yeah,
something,
because
maybe bacterial meningitis.
that sounds more like because
Yeah,
bronchitis. I mean, they'll just give you antibiotics and you're
there's
good
nothing
in
to
like a
do.
couple
Yeah,
days.
you just got to drink fluids and shit. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
pretty much. So, did you found that like fluids and stuff helped when you had COVID, or?
When I had the COVID, I don't know, man. Like, I don't think anything really helped. I tried taking like medicine, nothing did anything. I
Yeah.
basically just had to like suck it up for
Did
like,
you? Were you achy?
yeah, I was
I had
really
I had Mia smoke weed for the aches, and that helped. It got rid of them.
Oh yeah, did she actually test positive ever? Like,
We don't know. So like she was. So they didn't run the test the way they were supposed to, and
mm,
it came back negative. But I'm like, she
it's,
had it was like negative, but like they weren't. It was something weird. But like she was directly exposed to 3 people, and within 4 days of being directly exposed to 3 people who had tested positive, she contracted every symptom. So I'm like,
so what I think the telltale sign that you have it versus the flu is the like losing your sense of smell or
not
taste or
everyone gets
both.
that though.
Well, it seems like that's the telltale thing because that's how I knew I had it because
Yeah,
I couldn't smell. And um it was weird because like a week and a half or so after I tested positive, so I went to New Mexico to test because Texas was fucking stupid with theirs, right?
right.
So I went to New Mexico, which is just over the border. It's like, 15, 20 minutes from here. And I got the test there.
Sure.
They shoved that thing right up my nose, man. Like, dude, the like, halfway up the stick, like I felt like they were touching my brain with it, right?
Yeah, they didn't do that with her. It was weird.
That's what
Yeah,
Texas didn't. So I ended up getting another test at like, a week and a half later, because New Mexico just wasn't calling me about my results. So I was like,
sure.
dude, I gotta figure out if I got it or not. So I did one here in El Paso, and when they did it, they were just like, "Oh, blow your nose," and then they like didn't stick the swab like very far up there at all. And I was like, "Huh." And then that one tested negative, but they were in New Mexico. They were like, "Yeah, you could." A lot of people test positive for it like for up to 3 months, but
Yeah,
you're not actually contagious, but you'll still test positive on a test for it. So I'm like, did Texas just, are they like doing it all fucked up so that they're not getting as high of numbers or something, or like what? Because
maybe. I think the important thing to remember though is that the death rate's still falling, despite
I
the increase in cases, and I think it's
the only
because they're
thing about
figuring out how to treat it better. Excuse me.
that may be, but the death rate is like, yeah, the death rate sucks, but it's like, for me, like the thing I'm not concerned about for me is dying from it. But it's like, dude, who knows? This thing could have mutated to a state where like I'm like never gonna be able to smell 100% again or something like that. You
Maybe,
know what I mean? Like,
you
dude,
know.
that would just fucking suck. Like,
I know people that lost their sense of smell for about 2 months and then got it back. So I mean,
yeah, somebody told me something, or my actually Anna told me that she had read that there were instances where people that lost their sense of smell, when they're getting it back, they get like just random like smelling like a dead body or something like that, and it's because like the cells or like the neurons that work for your smell in your brain are like rebuilding, and you like
huh?
will, yeah, it's like basically the wiring not being right, so you just smell like nasty stuff out of nowhere.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm like paranoid about it. I'm like, man, when is that? Is that I don't know.
But like, so did you see like in Chicago they're telling people they can't visit their family for Thanksgiving? I'm like,
Dude,
I
they've
wish
been.
the mayor here would try to tell me I can't visit because now I'm gonna visit my family and I'm gonna have a fucking AR with me. And are you really gonna come tell me try and break that up? Nobody's willing to take a bullet for that.
I don't think that's. I mean, I'm not surprised with Chicago because that place is shitty anyway.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, here, like, I mean, they've always said don't have gatherings more than 8 people. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, no, I'll tell them to fuck themselves, and any business who defies the lockdown has made a lifetime customer out of me. That's all I say.
Yeah,
Like
I
that
don't
that's my
know.
thing, man. It's bullshit. Like I get that it's a virus. I get that it's real and it can take a toll on people, but you can't just tell someone they have to shut their business down. You can't. Like no matter what. Like unless you're going to compensate them, which is not sustainable for more than like 2 months. You can't
Yeah,
just be like, you have to shut down. You have to give them the choice. You have to give people the choice. And they're at first it was all about, you know, flattening the curve. Well, they flattened the curve, and now they're saying, well, we got to have a cure. There was never a cure that was promised. So what if there never is a cure? What if we don't find a vaccine? Are we just done? Like, are
the
we done as humans?
the
Like,
only
I'll risk it
reason
with Corona before I do that.
the only reason right now here in El Paso that they're doing crazier lockdowns is because literally the hospitals are like, how people were saying like, oh, they're worried about the hospitals going at max capacity. Well, El Paso is at max capacity for the hospitals, and
Yeah,
they've
we're
had
pretty
to.
close.
It's a mess, man. They have to fly people out to other cities for like other emergency stuff. So
But
like they
like, if it
it's
keeps coming back every time we lock down, what good is it? It's just
I
doing
don't know.
irreparable damage at that point. It's almost like we might as well just all get it and get it over with.
I see. I don't know if that's gonna be the thing that's gonna solve it though, because it mutates so well. It's like if you have it, people only. I think they tested in Korea. Like people only had the antibodies for like 3-4 months.
Yeah. So, and
I
there's
don't know.
different strains and everything, but
Mm.
like my, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't. It's just like what can you do, man? You can't fucking do anything. It's like people
Honestly,
just want to do something to say that they did something to so they can't be like, oh, we didn't do it, nothing. We did something.
honestly, I think the cure is indifference. I think until they have something that works and they can prove that it's not going to fuck you up for the rest of your life, that the cure is going to be worse than the virus.
Mm.
I think that the vaccine, the cure for it at this point is indifference. You know, People are just going to stop caring. They're going to go out and do their thing. It's going to be like the flu, strep throat, bronchitis, meningitis, any of that stuff. Or we're all just going to be like, yeah, you know, you got the flu, stay home for a week. You got corona, stay home for 2 weeks. You know,
It's even
it's
crazy.
we're going
Even
to
like
have to live
when
with it, and we
with
can't do this bullshit where we keep shutting down. It's just going to have to be the new norm until they figure out, you know, an actual cure that we can trust.
the crazy thing is like, man, even when they had like it was a regular that they had to deal with viruses like tuberculosis and
Sure.
stuff, man. Like they never shut down
No.
cities or
And
anything.
if you look at like there's pictures from like the Spanish flu, right? Which had a way higher death than COVID, right? Way higher death rate than
Yeah, it was a
COVID, like
lot like
20
more crazy
times.
of a disease.
20
Yeah.
times. Yeah. They had the mask mandates and everything, like I said, but they never did the shutdowns on a large scale. There's pictures of people in the crowd at baseball games wearing masks, like from the 20s.
Yeah, and I know
But
that they
they're
canceled some of the like a lot of cities. Well, some cities canceled some like public events and stuff. But
yeah.
yeah,
But the thing was, they're at the games. They're not staying at home. You know, they weren't locked in place. That was never on a large scale like a thing.
yeah. I just it's like, what are you gonna do, man? For seriously, that's like the big question.
Right.
What are you gonna do? Because it doesn't seem like anything really works. I mean,
Mm-mm.
no country besides Grand Warlord China, they're doing
Well,
great.
and you could say North Korea has done well, but they're also the only country where the virus is 100% fatal. So, like, you know,
Yeah, I mean,
everyone who gets the virus dies in North Korea.
it's really kind of silly to compare the United States as well to like
To anywhere.
anywhere, because like, dude, this Texas is like the size of Germany
Right.
and like
Everyone's
more population. So
every
like, if you would have to like look at how many numbers in total like all of Europe has to even come like an accurate comparison to the United States. Like,
well, that's just problematic because it doesn't fit my narrative. So
yeah, exactly.
well, I mean, if you look at New Zealand, the meme that keeps going around about how New Zealand, I'm like, dude, New Zealand's an island with the population of Iowa. I would be
Yeah.
very
Also,
disappointed if they couldn't stop it.
also,
Like,
it's not like they have like a lot going on, like economy wise of New
yeah,
Zealand. It's not like they're the strongest economy in the world
right.
almost, or at least top 10. Like,
Where if
that's
New
like,
Zealand stops, the world stops, kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Nobody's counting on New Zealand. Yeah, thanks for the Lord of the Rings movies, but that's really all you've ever contributed.
Yeah, for
Like,
real. I wonder even like what their most major export is.
so we haven't even addressed the elephant in the room, the election. We haven't done an election. We haven't done a
Fuck,
podcast
man.
since the election. We've been too busy.
I think it's because, dude, I mean, like, honestly, I'm kind of grateful that Trump's is out, so like people can stop hating the
Stop
governments
talking about it.
as
Well,
much. You know what I mean? Like, I have a good feeling that people will still criticize Biden
which
when
they
their
should.
administration does something fucked up. And honestly, I don't. Biden doesn't bug me that much, but I hate Kamala Harris. Like, she's
Oh,
just
she's
like
the devil.
she's the when people talk about like the system that fucks over minorities, like it's literally her.
It's her. Well, Joe Biden's responsible for it. She carries it out. It's kind of funny how it
Yeah,
works.
I don't know, man. Like,
94
I
crime
know.
bill.
Yeah, I know the 94
The
crime bill, but
Godfather.
it's yeah. I don't
The
know,
author
man.
of
I
it.
just
So the issue with Biden was he was the one that put the provisions in that targeted black people, like making
yeah.
crack a longer sentence than cocaine. Like
Even
directly,
though it's
Joe
the
Biden is
same disease or it's
the
the
same
same
virus.
drug.
Same drug. Sorry, we're talking about viruses too much. But I
Yeah.
mean, Joe Biden's directly responsible for that. That was his idea.
My thing is just like Biden. Yeah, the stuff was fucking shit, like dumb in the 90s, but it's like Biden's I think gonna do significantly less probably racist stuff than Trump, because like, I
Well, I
mean,
don't think
Trump
anything will get
literally
done because the Republicans kept the Senate, which government's at its
exactly
best when nothing is happening.
yeah, which so they still hold the Senate, so it's not like any government change is going to be stalled by the other side, so
Exactly.
that's going to happen. And two, it's like dude, Trump literally ran his campaign on like stopping immigration from Mexico. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Do you think
it's
there was fraud?
I don't think so, man.
I
I
think
think
there's
that
fraud in
whole
every election.
I maybe, but it's like, dude, that whole fraud thing, like conservatives crying fraud is the same thing to me as the Democrats or like the uh, progressives claiming that there was Russian like government or
Yeah. But I do think
interference.
there are questions that need to be answered that aren't being answered, and anyone who brings them up is just being dismissed as a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, they could definitely do they should definitely if there is like legitimate concerns where like kind of like they think there might have been up in Michigan, like I'm not going to dismiss any possibility just off, I mean, like, yeah, it might have happened maybe in like Michigan or something, but it's like I don't I didn't think there was fraud in the other election either, so
No.
I'm like I'm not going to be
So like
fucking that, crying that like
they're talking about like 12 dead people voted in Pennsylvania. I'm like, yeah, that's fraud, but that's not enough to sway it. You know what I mean? But like,
fucking exactly,
so
man. It's like I think conservatives are just like they can't accept the fact that dude, right? Trump wasn't a uniting
yeah,
president, man.
they're
Like,
such a cult of personality, and I think so. Like, there are some things that do concern and people, and people. Oh, you're just a far right conspiracy theory. Well, no, because you had about 1 million or 200,000 more votes in Nebraska than there were registered voters, and I understand in states like Wisconsin and Michigan and Georgia, you can register the same day you vote, so those numbers wouldn't be accurate, but not in Nebraska. You have to be registered back in September.
so
And Biden carried that.
I saw a thing where there was some disinformation about that in Wisconsin. Like there was some thing going around where there's
Yeah,
more
so
registered vote. Oh,
Wisconsin, it was true, but the thing with Wisconsin is, did we wake your kid up?
she just woke up because
Oh,
it's time. But no,
the
the
thing with
thing was it
Wisconsin,
wasn't
you can
it
register the
wasn't
same day you vote.
the thing was in Wisconsin too is it wasn't true. Like there was
Oh,
actually less votes than there was voters, and that
oh,
wasn't taking into account too like mail-in votes. So.
oh. Well, so, and I think a lot of people, like people say, how did the Republicans win so many House seats, but Trump lost the presidency? I'm like, well, it's pretty simple. People were sick and you had a lot of the country is in the middle, and they were sick and tired of constantly hearing about the president going off on Twitter and a press conference or whatever every single day. But at the same time, they didn't buy into this bullshit Marxist far left agenda the Democratic House candidates were pushing.
Mhm.
I don't think that's too far fetched.
I even saw that some of the more prolific Democratic House like members were saying that people with like extreme like borderline communist views were pushing people away from
Yeah,
voting Democrat
they
in the
were
House and
they
Senate.
they significantly, like, they're talking about like it's this great victory, but it really wasn't. You ran a guy, you barely beat. I mean, I barely beat. The electoral votes weren't close, but if you look at the battleground states, they were close. You barely beat probably the most unpopular president since Jimmy Carter.
Yeah,
You
Jimmy
didn't.
Carter's the last president to only have one term. So
Yeah,
clearly,
you had Senate seats up for grabs in a ton of battleground states. You had two in Georgia, North Carolina, Iowa, Colorado, Arizona, Montana, all those states, Maine and New Hampshire, all those states had senators up for grabs, and Michigan. And you couldn't take back the Senate. You lost 7 seats in the House. There's still a couple that are to be determined,
yeah.
but that's not a victory. Like, yeah, you won
I
the
think
White
like
House.
Trump getting voted out is clearly just it's a combination of he was a jackass and
Yeah,
like I mean he did some good stuff, but I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like oh he was the best president
I
ever. Like
I
he
think
wasn't.
honestly, I think long term, Trump losing this election is going to be good for the Republicans because the
I think
Democrats
so
keep
too.
going farther to the left. And what this did was push the Republicans a little bit closer to the center. They don't have the inflammatory rhetoric. People are going to see the Democrats as these far left fucking whack jobs. And they're going to see the Republicans as more of the centrist party. They got rid of
Yeah.
their figurehead that was a loudmouth, vulgar jackass. And these people are very
More importantly,
reasonable.
boomer.
Yeah. And these people are reasonable by comparison. Because I mean, if you look at like the down ballot Republicans, like the Dan Crenshaws and Tim Scott and Nikki Haley and people like that, they're not like Trump. They're professional
No,
people.
they're
Right?
actually very intelligent. Like they'll
Yeah.
go and do sit down interviews and stuff, and they'll give like very legitimate, logical reasons as to their opinions on like
Mm-hmm.
what they have for politics. Whereas like Trump is just like Trump is Trump. I almost
Right.
like don't even want to talk about Trump anymore, dude, because
Oh,
it's like it's been so exhausting for the past 5
Did
years.
you
It's
see
like,
his tweets today?
no, I don't. I don't want to fuck it. I have no interest in reading his tweets anymore because I'm just like, dude, like I don't fucking care. Like, let's just get past this fucking
So
guy so we can,
my he's probably gonna lose. So here's my thing. He's got what, 2.5 months left, 3 or a month and a half.
He needs to just start fucking pardoning fucking all these people left and right, man. That's what he's gonna start doing.
That's what I'm saying, man. I'm like, you've got 2 months left. You can do one of two things. You can cry about it, or you can at least give people something positive to remember you by with your legacy, right?
Like pardon Julian Assange,
yeah,
pardon
Snowden.
Ed Snowden, yeah.
You can pardon a bunch of nonviolent drug offenders in jail. You can legalize marijuana.
That Kamala Harris put in jail.
Yeah, that would be a big fuck you. Take there you go. Perfect. Take every guy who's still sitting in jail, convicted for a nonviolent offense that Kamala Harris put in jail, and pardon him. That's what he should have done.
That's some shit Trump would do.
If he was smart, he would have done that in the re-election before the election. Is pardon everyone, because he did that with Hillary when he got accused of that grab him by the pussy thing. He didn't try to dance around it like a politician. He came out and said he brought every woman that accused Bill Clinton of rape to the next debate and sat him in the front row. And he's like, I said what I said. It was just words. These people, Clinton actually did this. Like, that was the Trump that, like, Trump 4 years ago would have done some shit like that. Went and pardoned everyone Kamala Harris had thrown in jail that was still there.
Dude, Trump's his way that he thought he was gonna win was just so like terrible, dude. Like,
and it was a bad strategy. I could have told you
his strategy sucked. Like, the thing was like the Democrats were never really just like really up in front, like, oh yeah, we're gonna vote in Joe Biden because he's awesome. It was vote us because Trump sucks.
Yeah,
and that's what clearly worked because
that was
they won.
That's what he should do, though, is pardon everyone Kamala Harris. But I don't know if he'd have time to do that.
I wouldn't be surprised if he'd do it. He's pretty vindictive, man.
Just petty. Seriously, though, that like.
He is really petty. Like,
the fact that he didn't do that surprises me. Like, honestly, like I can't believe he didn't. Now that you mention that, pardon every nonviolent offense, because that was the thing with Kanye and Kim Kardashian had him pardoning a bunch of nonviolent offenders. Like, could you imagine a bigger fuck you than
he could do it in New Hampshire too?
Yeah, if Trump were to go in and pardon every single guy that Kamala Harris had put away for a nonviolent offense, a bigger fucking just king move. I think another thing,
honestly, this election made me like kind of I want to say like a little bit more proud, I guess, of America, just because it's like, yeah, people fucking like people hated Trump, right? Or a lot of people didn't like Trump. The country was so split down the middle, right? But you know what the fucking people that didn't like Trump did is they went out and fucking voted him out, dude. Like, thank you. You fucking put your money where your mouth was and actually went out and voted him out. Like, when people were like, all the conservatives were crying about a fucking Obama for 4 years, they didn't go out and vote him out. Like, they didn't put their money where their mouth was.
I think they tried. I think Obama was a stronger candidate. Obama was very well spoken.
I think Obama's first term was actually pretty successful too. I mean, he really didn't start going down the crazy left-wing path until his second term in office.
Obama was a war criminal. Either way.
That's true, but I mean, the United States in general is just like one big war crime.
So. One big war crime.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, so I think right now, with everything the way it is, I think the Republicans, they're probably going to win one of the Senate seats in Georgia. You've got Manchin in West Virginia that's probably going to vote. He's up for re-election, and he knows he's in a really conservative state. He's going to vote pretty hardline Republican as well. He's a Democrat.
We'll see how the Biden administration does too.
I don't think they'll accomplish anything.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, they could just,
which is good.
They could just, they could do really well or something and end up getting reelected, or they just do what everyone was worried about the Biden campaign doing, and then they just vote him out.
I think you have a guy that was so bad. I think if the Republicans run someone who's not so divisive, I think they wipe the floor with Biden in 24.
I think so too.
But Trump's going to run for re-election in 24. I think honestly at this point, the worst case scenario with everything as it is right now, you can't go back and change nothing. I think the worst case scenario from today on out is this does get taken to the court. they find evidence of fraud, but it's kind of iffy as far as how big of an effect it has, because they're going to find evidence of fraud. There's fraud in every election, right? But how large of a scale it was, and then the Supreme Court justice that Trump ushered in before, right before the election, comes out and she's the deciding vote that says, Trump's the president again.
It's
Because
crazy. I don't even know
point,
what they would do if they really found significant evidence.
What can you do? But I think if you have something like that where she comes out and she's like, hey, Trump's still the president, she's the deciding vote that declares Donald Trump president on the Supreme Court, you're going to see riots like you've never seen before in this country.
I'm sure, yeah.
So I think that's
pretty volatile right now.
Me at this point.
Yeah, it's pretty volatile, and the next next 4 or 5 months are really going to be a telltale sign of like what happens. But
yeah, exactly.
I agree with you 100% on that. That would be pretty crazy, man.
I got to get back to watching the Patriots game. So
I know, and I would say my baby was crying, so I gotta go. I gotta go take off here.
Have a good night, bro. Peace out, Bread and Circuses.
Yeah,
Thank you guys.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Take care.
Peace the fuck out.